Hey, Sean here with another quick hit. We're continuing our conversation about exposition, and I wanted to talk about narration. Narration is a obvious and easy way to get exposition across, to get the information across that the audience needs to understand about what's going on. A lot of beginning writers will tell you that their teachers told them never use narration. Narration is a no-no. Okay, that's a fallacy. There's two things going on when you hear a teacher tell you do not use narration. Number one is they're a bad teacher and they don't understand that narration is a tried and true method of storytelling. And number two, which is more likely, is that you're a beginning writer and this is a beginning class and they're sick and tired of students using narration as a crutch to avoid having to do actual good writing. We see this in movies and television and a little bit in plays, less so. But we see it all the time in mediocre storytelling because it can be a crutch. It can be a way of saying, hey, I don't want to do the work of making my exposition entertaining and making it integrated. I don't know how to do the work of having the story tell itself, so I'm going to have a narrator come in and solve all my problems for me. I don't have to tell you that they're in love because I'm going to have a narrator tell you they're in love. So I don't need to write a scene that makes you feel like they're in love. So really, it's just the teachers, and we do this a lot as a professor. We will make rules, and really, what the rule is I just don't want to have to deal with that. We should be clarifying. They should never say you can't use narration, you can't use flashbacks, you can't use whatever it is that they happen to be talking about. They're really not saying, oh, storytelling can't use that. They're saying, I just don't want to see that in this particular script. So narration. How do you keep narration from being a crutch? How do you use it properly? Well, there are many ways of using it properly. Number one is it should never replace your storytelling. It should always be enhancing and adding on to the storytelling. It should never replace character work. You should never have a narrator telling an audience how to feel about a character, because if the story isn't carrying it, then you just need to rewrite the story. One of the ways to help with a narrator, especially if the narrator's doing exposition and you don't want it to feel like a narrator doing exposition, is to give the narrator character, give the narrator a personality, give them the point of view. I'm using as my example here from Pushing Daisies with Jim Dale narrating.
In the town of young Ned was 9 years, 27 weeks, 6 days, and 3 minutes old. His dog Digby was 3 years, 2 weeks, 6 days, 5 hours, and 9 minutes old. And not a minute older.
Okay, we don't need to see what happens next. Trust me, this is a comedy, despite the fact that that's the opening. With the opening, something tragic's going to happen, but the tragic thing that happens gets redeemed, and that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the narrator. Notice the level of detail. So the way that this magic realism show, Pushing Daisies, uses the narrator is very matter-of-fact and down to the detail. Has a very pleasant narrating voice, but is giving you the details, not giving you the emotion. And because of the level of details, it's entertaining to hear it because it's kind of surprising. It's something that you haven't heard. Look at Veronica Mars for narration with a character who has a point of view. Look at Jane the Virgin. Fantastic narration within that. Look at Arrested Development with Ron Howard doing the narration. In each of those cases, the narrator has a character, they have a point of view, they have a place that they're coming from. They're not just a shapeless voice out there, but they're a character. They're written like a character, just like any of the other characters. So that's how you do that with narration to get exposition across, is you give the narrator a character point of view. Okay, this has been another quick hit.